Scott Hall recently passed away, and I thought this was a good time to sort of pay tribute to the man as handsome as 10 movie stars and how special of a talent he really was.
Well, I had a special place for Scott because I knew Scott before he was in the business. He used to come to the gym where the guys work out. And he came to me one time and said, how can I get in the wrestling business? And I said, well, go see Dusty Rhodes at 106 North Albany one day, make an appointment. And he showed up there. And then he came to Florida. And when Florida was very down, this is when Dusty had left and taken all the talent to North Carolina. Scott stepped in as the top baby face. He kept the company afloat, that's all you could ask for, because they had just lost Dusty, Barry, Blackjack, Mike Rotunda, Black Bart, the whole list of guys, Magnum, and he came in and kept the company afloat. And then he went to AWA. And then at the time, I was living in the Bahamas. And I would fly from the Bahamas to different places that I was working. And one night I flew in, it was a Thursday night, because I was going to work in Florida on Friday. And I went to the Marriott. And I could walk in, and Scott's in the lobby. And I bumped into Scott, and I said, what are you doing here? He said, I'm here for a meeting with Pat Patterson and Vince tomorrow. He said, I don't care what I do. I just need to feed my family. So I was there when he gave the pitch to McMahon and Patterson, and neither one of them had seen the movie. So Scott was off and running. One of the smoothest workers of all times, because what's so funny about James, he was a good worker when he was a babyface, but he wasn't as smooth as he turned out to be. And he really applied himself to learn his craft, and he did it really well. And like you mentioned, he looked like Tarzan to me. If I was ever going to make a Tarzan movie, Scott would have been in the role.
With Scott, in his early few years, I mean, he wrestled in America and Germany and goodness knows where else. I get the feeling in the early days, he was just another big guy prodding alligators in those vignettes that he did that time. And he was just like a sort of like no real charisma. And then all of a sudden he went from no charisma to one of the most charismatic people in the business. Where did he find that inner sort of personality?
I think some people, you have it and you suppress it, because when you get in the business, sometimes you're intimidated to show that. But I think what happened to Scott was when he told me that he had to get a job to pay his family, he said, the hell with it, I'm throwing the ball against the wall and I'm going to take it. And I think that's where he got it. It was necessary for him.
And I know we talked about Kevin Nash and Adrian Street as Renaissance men, but Scott Hall was also a creative mind in a sense as well. I know, and a lot of his creative ideas came from films. So we've got Scarface, we've got The Crow with Sting. Was there anything else that Scott came up with for other people?
I'm sure he did, but Scott wasn't one to go around and brag about stuff. Even though he was braggadocious in his character, but Scott had a wrestling mind. And I hate to be a homer, but most of the guys that came from Florida or started in Florida had very good wrestling minds because of what they saw presented to them on TV.